Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream. Live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins, going to move some crypto around for you guys, and as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't troubleshoot your problems here live. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed Jesse Hoagman last week from Caleb and Brown. That was a little departure for me. I'd like to probably do more interviews like that. We had quite a bit of market activity this week. Bitcoin briefly crossed the 76,000 mark around Tuesday. But then the weight of the world started weighing on Bitcoin and stocks towards the end of the week, and we're down around 70,000. We were briefly below 70,000, I think, yesterday or maybe the day before, but we've been pretty much over today around 70,300 or 70,500. So it looks like, at least for now, we're holding above 70,000. So I've got some market news. I'll delve into what's going on with the Bitcoin market. There has been some good news on the regulatory front with the Clarity Act. A couple of senators that are involved in the negotiations have said that there is an agreement in principle, so I'm going to cover that story. I'm also going to talk about some scam stories. One is an investor that took 3 times in a row, and it escalated each time. So it's a great cautionary tale for those of you who might get caught into these types of scams. Believe me, scams are all over the place. I had an email today that was saying that there was a copyright strike on my YouTube channel, and I had to look at it really closely to realize that it definitely was a scam that was trying to steal my YouTube credentials. So we're all getting bombarded with scams left and right. So stick with me. I'll teach you how to identify them and avoid them. Also, my very good friend Aaron sent me an article about a new iPhone spyware, hackware, or exploit, and supposedly it can steal crypto, but of course that crypto would have to be on a phone-only wallet, and you know I always advocate having hardware wallets. So if you had a hardware wallet, you would not be vulnerable to this scam, and it's targeted towards older OSs. So if you keep your phones, your computers, your hardware wallets, and everything up to date, as I always tell you, I'm always harping on you. I know I feel like a parent sometimes, harping on you to please keep all of your devices and software completely up to date, especially in today's atmosphere. With all of these exploits and scams out there, you've got to keep your devices, everything up to date. Even your smart TV. Yeah, if you want to watch the latest version of Apple TV, sometimes you got to update the Apple TV app, or you sometimes have to update the software on your TV or your Roku. So yeah, let's keep all our devices up to date and avoid scams. I'm going to cover all that tonight, so stick around. It's good to have everybody here tonight. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. The first big stories I'm going to cover, of course, are the market news. Bitcoin price aims to hold 70K amid rising inflation concerns. So the war in Iran, is bringing the price of oil higher because of the Strait of Hormuz, and because there are actually oil refineries and gas refineries being damaged during all of this. Another thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is the Strait of Hormuz has a lot of oil tankers that go through it, but it's more than just oil. Even, I believe, a lot of the fertilizer or the precursors to making fertilizer come through the Strait of Hormuz also. And with spring planting season just around the corner, this is also driving up the price of fertilizer. And all of those worries are, all of those factors are bringing gas prices higher, which of course is going to bring inflation higher. Although the BSI, is that the government agency that does inflation figures? I forget. They don't include food and fuel in the inflation index for some bizarre reason. But all of those factors are bringing inflation higher, which are leading to worries in the stock market and the crypto market. And that is really what's weighing on them. So let's go through these stories so we can get down to the details. I don't know why this particular website does this to me, but it does. Bitcoin's swift rejection of 76,000 range high on Tuesday and not the subsequent sell-off below 70K raised concerns among traders that the bottom is not in for Bitcoin, right? We saw a low of just under 60,000 last month or the month before, and we thought that maybe that's the bottom. We're starting to slowly make our way higher, but now they're saying that that's probably not the bottom, and we probably will go down into the mid 50s or low 50s here. So that's a possibility because of this pullback, right? Kibber also referenced an ex-social post from January 18th where he explained that Bitcoin would need to respect its year-long average as part of the chop and search for a base. That would mean our low, right? Bitcoin's tumble below 70,000 followed sharp selling in U.S. stocks, where traders' concerns over crude oil prices, as I mentioned earlier, the cost of the U.S. and Israel-Iran war, and its impact on inflation zapped investor confidence. The market now sees a 50% chance of a U.S. Fed rate hike by the end of 2026. Just months ago, markets saw as many as 4 rate cuts this year. And Bitcoin sort of, the crypto market sort of hopes for rate cuts. That's better for risk assets. And so the possibility of higher inflation and a U.S. Fed rate hike is really going to weigh on sentiment. In its BTC options weekly chart, Glassnode analysts concluded that Bitcoin has reintegrated its range after a short-lived deviation above the 75K levels. So Bitcoin going up above 75K was just a fluke, right? And then this goes into it a little deeper and ties it a little more closely to the war going on over there. Bitcoin price remained rocky, and BTC and equities ETF outflows soar as the U.S. and Israel-Iran war enters a 4th week. After a strong start to the week, as we mentioned, it's down. Bitcoin is down nearly 5%, along with the S&P 500, Dow, NASDAQ, and gold. Crude oil, on the other hand, has risen 7.3%. So yeah, I guess I should have bought some crude oil and put it in my garage, and maybe that would have made up for my crypto losses. The collective market weakness highlights a coordinated shift in capital flows as the war continues in the Middle East. You know, whenever they start wars, they always say, oh, it'll be over in a few days, you know, and that is the perpetual war cry. I don't know, you can probably go back to, you know, the wars between Egypt and Mesopotamia or whatever you want to think about. They probably went into them thinking that they were going to be easy, quick, and short. But my recollection, being a Civil War buff, is that both sides were claiming that the war would be over within a month. And, gear up, pack up, let's go beat them Yankees, or let's go beat those rebels, and we'll be back home within a month. Well, it didn't turn out like that. And but war never changes, right? They never seem to get the message that you can't just start a war and then jump out whenever you feel like it. Looks like we're in this for the long haul. We're at day 20-something at this point, right? We started February 28th, and now it's March 21st. And it doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. And that's weighing on sentiment and risk assets. The Kosebi letter reported a combined 64 billion outflow from the S&P 500 ETF and the Nasdaq 100 ETF over the past 3 months, the largest on record. This reverses a 50 billion inflow seen in November and pushes outflows to 5% of total assets under management. The spot Bitcoin ETFs mirrored the broader market weakness, recording 253 million in outflows over the past 2 days. While the monthly ETF flows remain positive at 1.48 billion, this comes against the backdrop of 6.3 billion in cumulative outflows between November and February, highlighting a fragile recovery in investor demand. Broader geopolitical uncertainty appears to be compressing demand depth, limiting the market's capacity to absorb even moderate realization events. War influences the market, definitely. Market participants are framing Bitcoin's move against past geopolitical events, drawing parallels between the current U.S. and Israel-Iran war and the Russia-Ukraine war in 2022. Coincidentally, taking place in February, 4 years apart, crypto commentator Carlito Sway noted that following Russia's attack on Ukraine in February of 22, Bitcoin initially sold off before posting a 24% relief bounce in the following 4 weeks. The momentum faded soon after as BTC dropped another 64% by November of 22. So we might be in for that again, right? History doesn't always repeat itself, but it usually rhymes. A similar sequence is unfolding this month, with Bitcoin rallying nearly 10% at one stage last week since the beginning of the war, but momentum is now slowing down. Carlito's Way, yeah, that's right, it's a Carlito's Way, linked the weakness to sustained pressure on liquidity, rising energy costs, and continued forced selling during periods of stress, all of which reduced the follow-through demand for Bitcoin. So the war is weighing heavy on the crypto market. And of course, when Bitcoin falters, the rest of the altcoins follow. Let's talk about some good news. Senators say they've reached a compromise on yield to advance crypto market bill. So the sticking point on the Clarity Act was stablecoin yield. Stablecoins are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to the price of a currency, usually the US dollar, and they can be staked for yield in certain cases. But in order to jump over this regulatory hurdle and become fully legal, there has to be concrete regulations in place. And the bankers didn't like the fact that you could get a close to 5% return on stablecoins just letting them sit in your wallet if they were staked. So the banks don't like stablecoin yields. They say that everyone will withdraw their money from banks and put them in stablecoins, and there'll be bank runs and the system will collapse. I believe they said the same thing about money market funds when they came along. But geez, banks seem to survive that one. Always crying foul, those banks. But the 2 key senators have reportedly come to a tentative deal on stablecoin yield. Unfortunately, and I'm just going to give you a spoiler alert here, I've read this article from beginning to end, and they haven't said anything about what this compromise entails. They simply, well, actually they did. They said something about, what was the word that they used? They have this agreement in principle, protects both innovation, what was the word? There's a term that they used. Passive, that's the one. Passive holdings. I can't find it in here. So I don't know what that means. I don't, if they're saying, I think they were saying something about they didn't want stablecoin issuers to be able to give people yield for holding stablecoins in a wallet, but that exchanges like Kraken and Coinbase could pay a return on stablecoins if you're holding the stablecoin with them, which seemed odd because I was always under the impression that when an exchange gave you a yield on your stablecoin or any crypto, that meant that they were staking the underlying crypto themselves. So in other words, if I deposit a bunch of Ethereum in Kraken and a whole bunch of other people deposit Ethereum in Kraken, Kraken can take all that Ethereum and hold on to it. They don't have to reinvest it or do anything like that. They're not moving it, so they're still holding it on behalf of all their depositors. But they could stake it and earn a staking reward on that crypto. You have to have at least 32 Ethereum to do native staking, or at least you did at one point. And so because the exchange was getting a return on their crypto by staking it, they could afford to pay us part of that reward or most of it or however it worked. That was my understanding. So I don't understand how they can claim that, well, we're not going to allow stablecoin issuers to give a return or staking rewards on stablecoin, but Coinbase and Kraken can. So I'm wondering, how are Coinbase and Kraken making up for this? They should be, unless they've got some sort of insider deal where they are getting a return on that stablecoin. So a little confusing. I'm getting a little off topic, but we're still talking about the Clarity Act and the agreement in principle between the Democrat and Republican senators on the banking committee. However, there's a lot more than just stablecoin yield that's a sticking point. This is one of the big ones, but it's not the only one. But it is something that if we can get past this, then there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I believe they're shooting for April, and to get this before the Senate. It has to pass the Senate Banking Committee and then the Agriculture Committee. And once they've got through both of those committees, then they can bring it to the Senate floor. It will most likely be signed by Trump if it passes the Senate, although even if it passes the Senate, they're going to have to send it back to the House to reconcile it with the version that the House already passed. So, but it's good news that they have an agreement in principle, even though we don't know the details. Now I wanted to turn towards crypto scams. I know a lot of you turn to me for your scam prevention news. I do a lot of videos on, watch out for this scam, whether it's a ledger letter or it's somebody in the comments saying, here's my seed phrase. All these crazy scams that people lose crypto over. This story kind of takes the cake, as far as I'm concerned, about one person. Now, although it is a real person, he doesn't seem like the most average type of investor. I've encountered this a few times. Investing can be very much likened to gambling. And we know there are gambling addicts out there that, bet everything, lose their home, lose their family over gambling. And they're looking for that rush. And one of the biggest mistakes that gamblers make is doubling up to catch up. That's one. If the really good gambler will say, don't double up to catch up, which means if you're down, don't try to bet bigger to try and win back what you lost. And that's exactly what this gentleman did in the financial game. So let me just lay this out for you, what happened. A 66-year-old retiree in Hong Kong was duped 3 times in 6 months by self-styled crypto investment experts. Now, this is a crypto investment expert, so this is a little different than like someone tricking you into your seed phrase. That's the one that the people that I view are my viewers. I try to help against, because it threatens the security of the crypto that you have in self-custody. This scam is a little bit different because it's targeting someone who has a lot of money to spend and wants to buy crypto as an investment to make a lot of money. So just kind of put yourself where this guy is as far as that goes. He lost roughly $840,000 in US dollars. 3 crypto-related scams. Trusting proclaimed virtual currency experts who reached out via WhatsApp, according to Hong Kong's police cyber defense unit. Police say the victim was first approached in September 2025 by a scammer who cold messaged claiming to be a virtual currency investment expert and promising steady gains if the victim followed his advice. The retiree then transferred $180,000 worth of Hong Kong dollars and deposited crypto in a wallet the scammer controlled, only to watch him disappear, prompting the filing of a police report. When someone tells you that you're going to make a lot of money in crypto and then they have you buy the crypto and then put it in their wallet, red flags should be going up. But if you're not that savvy about how crypto works, you may think, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. But don't let anyone ever trick you into making a huge transfer to one of their addresses, right? So they just disappear. And then, every attempt you make fails to contact them again. The case shows how fraudsters can recycle the same victim through successive schemes. Life has no take 2, but scams have take 3. Guaranteed returns and insider information are classic red flags. The retiree, okay, we got that. It's like a repeat of what he did. Unwilling to accept the loss, the victim later searched online for another crypto expert who claimed he could help recover the missing funds, but then demanded $75,000 as a security deposit. After the victim paid, that expert also vanished. Now, I want to point this one out because this guy was involved in successive investment type scams, but this second one was him trying to recover the money. A lot of people that make mistakes and lose their crypto, either by bad transfers or revealing their seed phrase, once their wallet gets empty, then they're looking around to find someone that's going to help them recover the money. And no one can help you recover your money once your wallet has been drained. If it can be traced by law enforcement, they might be able to freeze the account of the attacker if he transfers it onto an exchange that they have some jurisdiction over. But if the scammer just moves it to their wallet and then spreads it around a bunch of different wallets, getting your money back is the chances are almost non-existent. But there are a special breed of hackers that like to wait in the wings, hoping to find someone crying or claiming that they've been scammed and lost a bunch of money, and then they step in and say, hey, I can help you get it back. And this is a classic scam too. So if you lose crypto, I feel bad for you, but please don't fall for any other scams with people are claiming that they can recover your crypto for you. That's a scam as well, especially when they're demanding money up front. In January, a third supposed specialist messaged the retiree on WhatsApp offering to reclaim both prior losses if the victim bought $585,000 in crypto and sent it to a specified address. Once the victim complied, that scammer disappeared as well, bringing the total loss over roughly 6 months to approximately $840,000. The case lands against, okay, they talk about some other cases here. I think at one point, I may have skipped this, but let me see. It might be in this other story. I'm just referring to the fact that a lot of scams start off with someone texting you, and they'll text you and say, hey, Bob, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? And if you reply and say, hey, I think you got the wrong number, my name's not Bob, and then they'll go, oh, really? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. And then you go, it's fine. Don't worry. I'm not Bob. Just like have a nice life. And then they come back, but hey, I'm just wondering, where do you live? Because you seem like such a nice person. The next thing you know, they're drawing you in. Don't ever respond to, it used to be when I was a kid, if you got a phone call and it was a wrong number, it was like you were very nice to them and they were very nice to you. No longer. If someone calls you and claims it's a mistake or a wrong number, just hang up. Protocol, phone protocol is dead. Text protocol is dead. Anyone that accidentally texts you and then tries to strike up a conversation is obviously a scammer. So hang up, hit that delete button on your text. Do not engage anyone that pretends to accidentally contact you. That's how it all starts and how they gain your trust. Now let's cover this last story. This was sent to me by Erin. I hope she's in tonight. She says she regularly watches, and I appreciate that. She sent me this story about a iPhone spyware capable of penetrating millions of devices. A powerful software exploit capable of penetrating and stealing information from potentially hundreds of millions of iPhones was planted on dozens of websites in Ukraine in recent weeks, researchers said on Wednesday. It's a fresh scam, so watch out. The discovery marks the second time this month that researchers has found spyware targeting iPhones and other Apple devices. Together, the two hacking tools show that the market for sophisticated malware capable of stealing data and cryptocurrency wallet information is flourishing. So the cyber firm Lookout, mobile security firm iVerify, and Alphabet's Google published coordinated analysis of the malware they dubbed Darksword. On March 3rd, Google and iVerify revealed separate, powerful iPhone spyware called Corona. Researchers found Darksword hosted on the same servers. Now there's a verified pipeline of recent exploits. Now, what you need to be aware of is that these are Ukrainian websites. And so if you're poking around on Ukrainian websites, watch out. I normally don't. And Apple is claiming later in the article that these websites are blocked if you're using Safari web browser, but you might be using Chrome on your iPhone or Firefox or something else where they potentially might not be blocked. And they target an older version of iOS. So users running iOS versions 18.4 and 18.62 who visited one of dozens of Ukrainian websites, Apple released those versions between March and August of 2025. So not that old, right? It's just iOS software from last year. But you need to, I would just put your phone on auto update and just let it update automatically. Now, I don't always opt to get the very latest and greatest or beta software on my phone or my computer, but I do, leave it on so that whenever there's an update, it alerts me. And then it'll run at night. Sometimes it fails, but I usually will run it the next morning if it fails while I've got it plugged in. But if you're running the latest version of the Apple software, you should be at, let me see if I can quickly find it here. Let's see, what am I running? I'm running version 26.31. They have switched to versions that include the year at the beginning. So version 26 is tied to 2026. So I'm running 26.3.1. On my iPhone, I have an iPhone 16. It's not the latest phone. If you have a phone that's, I don't know if there's any phones that are incapable of running anything higher than 18.4 or 18.62. Even if you have an older phone that can't run the latest iOS software, I would say there's probably versions higher than this that have been fixed. So you should always be running the latest version possible on your phone. This whole idea of, well, the new versions are buggy, I like to stick with what works, just throw that out the window. In today's environment, with hacks and exploits being what they are, you want your phone to be fully up to date at all times to avoid these types of vulnerabilities. So make sure your phone's running the latest version. Don't poke around on Ukrainian websites, at least for this particular exploit. Now, I'm assuming, pardon me, if you're poking around on Ukrainian websites, it's most likely pornography or some kind of dating or what's that one, friends only, or I don't even know what they're called. Whatever the one is where you can like see models do stuff. OnlyFans, that's the one I'm thinking of. OnlyFans. Anything for like see the latest Ukrainian girls. I would not mess around with any of those, right? Keep your phone up to date and stick to good websites. But what I wanted to drive home about this particular story is please keep your devices updated. That includes your hardware device. If you've got a Ledger device, then you should launch Ledger wallet software at least once or twice a year. Every month is probably better. For example, when I launched Ledger Live, I got an alert that there's a new version of Ledger Wallet. Now, when you see an alert inside Ledger Live, you can trust it. But don't click on links in emails. Ledger software will never alert you via email that there's a new version and you need to click a link. We talked last week that Trezor, there have been a lot of Trezor phishing emails saying that there's an update to Trezor or critical update or a quantum update. There's all these, they come in different flavors. But don't be afraid to update your software from within the software environment, right? So the Ledger wallet is very easy. Just click install now and relaunch. It will quit and then run the install and relaunch your software for you. It takes 2 seconds, right? So make sure your Ledger software stays up to date. Not just for security fixes, bug fixes, new functionality. It's just smart to stay up to date. Don't be so mistrustful of updates that you don't do them, because you're just going to cause yourself problems down the road. Now, over here in the My Ledger section is where you would update the firmware. Well, the firmware is the software that runs on your device. So it's sort of software that runs on hardware. So I'll go ahead and plug my device in and enter my PIN, and I'm pretty sure I'm running the latest version of the firmware. I think I got that. Yeah. So it's going to say allow secure connection. You want to do that. Pardon me, because you're connecting your Ledger device to the Ledger software. And you'll see there I've got some updates here. These are app updates. My OS version is up to date. They call it OS version now. It's basically the firmware on the device. But you can see I have 2 app updates. And they're the big ones. Bitcoin and Ethereum both have updates. This is not Ledger trying to annoy you by keep updating their software or their apps. This is the Ethereum and the Bitcoin developers making improvements to their apps that are hosted on Ledger. Ledger has a huge dev kit, and all of the developers are the ones that maintain the apps that make these compatible with Ledger. So we're going to hit update all and just let it update. Easy peasy. The firmware update's a little more involved. I've done countless videos on how you update firmware. Pardon me. I'm going to take a drink here. Okay, so that's the news and my advice. I'm going to check the chat window. I don't think Dan is here. I don't see Dan. Yeah, there's quite a few people in the chat window. So I just wanted to greet everyone that was here early and the people that are here on a regular basis. I'm glad you guys are here. Kenny's here, Mr. Miskey, Andreas Ebert, Simon, Goofy Dude, Fred McIntyre, Amsterdam, Holland. Bobby is here. Christopher Tain from Melbourne. Andrea, JJ9ST. Paul is here. HR by Catherine. Thank you for your kind coffee that you bought me, Catherine. And it was nice talking to you through email. Catherine sent me an email saying that in New York, there are some regulatory issues with using Caleb and Brown. Of course, we had Jesse from Caleb and Brown here last week. So thanks for letting me know about that, Catherine. And it was nice talking to you. Pardon me. Gunbroker is here. Good to have you. The buck stops here. When will Bitcoin break out above 77K? We've been testing this range for 3 weeks now. I would like to know the answer to that as well. The buck stops here. According to that article that we covered, the indication that we keep getting resistance at that level is an indication that we might have not hit the bottom. And so we might not be breaking over it. We might be heading back down under 60K. I sure hope not. I would love to see us break out again, at least up to 8,500 and beyond, right? Andreas Ebert is here. Good to have you here. Let's see. I believe JP is going to stay on his Fed chair at least till next year. Interesting. I'm here because my mom, Andrea, forced me here. If I didn't watch, she was going to force me to eat meatloaf. Oh, username. It's good to have you here. I happen to like meatloaf myself. I'm from the Midwest, and that's a staple in the Midwest. It's just so fluid, LOL. Well, you can make your meatloaf thicker or juicier, however you want to do it. Let's see here. Stan is here. It's good to have you. Evening all. I sent Andreas here. I sincerely apologize for that. My other kid is here. Lucky you, CryptoDad. My family is very dysfunctional. It's good to have the whole family here. Boys, I think we should ask what CryptoDad's thoughts on Monero are. Very good. Oh, interesting. Let me just get through the comments here. I will talk about Monero. I'm staking some cryptos. They're making money. I just wanted to make sure no one has a burning desire. Staking is cool. Sometimes it's not worth it. My mom, Andrea, bought some off-the-wall crypto and was loving the 14 APY, but it devalued down almost to nothing. Yeah, you have to remember a lot of cryptos can be staked, but if the value of that crypto goes down close to zero, then the staking isn't going to do you much good. I've run into that one a few times. I'm still married to your father, not a big fan of cats, but I like this guy. He's teaching the basics. Give him a chance. I have a cat too. He comes on to the live stream every now and then. I almost got scammed. The scammer was like to tell me about this cool crypto that will moon. She was talking about XLM, but really meant XMR. Almost lost money. It was not cool. Chewing mashed potatoes. Oh, someone just came to the front door. I think that's probably Amazon delivery. Let's see. Did you see that Ledger is going to be making Gen 5 in different colors? No, I did not see that. That's interesting. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, so we don't have anything else on the plate at the moment. So let me tell you my Monero story. MoneroV.org. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Get Monero. I just want to have the Get Monero website. Yeah, if you're interested in Monero, you want to go to getmonero.org, not monero.com or Monero whatever, right? Monero is a privacy-focused cryptocurrency. It has obfuscating features in it that it's not transparent like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Oh, I guess it was the cat. I hear the jingly bell. I think he's here. Where is that cat? He'll be coming through in a minute here. Now, Monero is a privacy coin, as I mentioned. And I've done several videos on how you set up the Monero wallet. So you might want to check that out. I mean, if you just go to Google and type CryptoDad and Monero, you'll probably see a list of several of my videos on Monero, on how you get the wallet set up and all that. Now, there's Kitty. See, let's say hello, Kitty. Come here. Oh. Kitty was outside. I don't know why Kitty doesn't want to stay outside. Because it's really nice out there, Kitty. For Michigan, it's like 60 today. So it's a really good day for the cat to be outside. He spends a lot of time outside. We live on a cul-de-sac, so we live in a pretty safe neighborhood. And he's got several buddies that are also outside cats. The neighbors across the street and the neighbors next to us have outside cats as well. So they all like to play around together. All right, so rub your face against the edge of my monitor as you always do. I don't know if you're going to come sit down. Okay. All right, Kitty, I got work to do. Yeah, I got work to do. Let's go back over here. Come on, Kitty. So if the story I was going to tell you was I've been using ChatGTP and Gemini quite a bit. I have the pro versions of both of those, so they're pretty powerful, and they can help you write code. They can help you do a lot of stuff. And I had mined Monero a while back, when it was just before AI was around, and it's pretty excruciating to try and figure out how to get a Monero miner set up. And so I asked ChatGPT, I have a spare rig, and the CPU on that rig is pretty nice, actually. And it had a fairly nice GPU in it, too. It had a NVIDIA 2080 Ti. And so I said, hey, why don't you help me get this rig set up to mine Monero? And I gave it all the specs of the rig and everything. And it said, Monero has gone to CPU-only mining. So your NVIDIA card isn't going to really make a big difference. So I cannibalized that card out and put it in a different spare rig that I have that I can do AI on over there, and just put in a basic graphics card. As it turns out, the CPU in that in my Monero rig is ideal for Monero CPU mining. It's a Threadripper, and it's a pretty decent one. I bought it a couple years back, but have since upgraded. So I had that rig laying around spare. So I installed Debian on the machine, the Linux operating system. I got the Monero mining software set up with the help of ChatGTP. Pretty painless operation. And then I threw in my power bill. I dropped a PDF of my power bill in, and it figured out how much I pay per kilowatt or whatever. And then it had me set up the miner to start running, and it had me give it results that were coming out. And through all that, it determined how much Monero I was going to mine per month, and how much it was going to cost me. So and here's the kicker, or sticking point, however you want to think of it. The mining rig that I set up, which I run 24/7, is going to cost me approximately $50 or $52 extra in my power bill, right? And as it stands with Monero, the price it's at, every month I'm going to mine approximately $49 worth of Monero. So that is a net loss in the short term. Now, I am perfectly willing to do that in view of long-term Monero, holding Monero long-term. I'm accumulating Monero long-term. But you could just as easily just invest $50 in Monero every month, right? Now, the hope is that the price of Monero will go up, and that $40 or that $49 worth of Monero that I'm mining every month will be worth more down the road, and will make up for that extra power bill that I'm paying. But I already had the rig, but it was a capital expenditure. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because a lot of people think that mining cryptocurrency is like some kind of money tree. It's not. You have to buy the equipment up front, and then your power bill is going to go up. And if you buy a Bitcoin miner, like a mining rig, those things are loud. They sound like vacuum cleaners. So it's going to be irritating. You have to figure out a way to keep it cool. In fact, the AI told me that I should probably not run it during the summer because of the heat issues, and it's going to draw more power during the summer when I'm using more power. So I just kind of wanted to give you that quick overview of how Monero mining works. Like, you can run it. It's they moved it from GPU to CPU, so it's CPU only, and you have to have a pretty decent CPU to get an efficient miner. He even gave me some instructions to lower the threads, which brought the efficiency down just a little bit, but brought my power requirements down more than that. So actually, I think I'm making a little bit, because I'm not going to spend another 52 per month. It's going to be like in the high 40s range. So, but someone mentioned Monero. I wanted to talk about that. It's a great privacy coin, and it's something that has been around for a long time, and you can use it to purchase things on the internet. And because it's more of a working crypto, Bitcoin has become more of a store of value. Around 2016 or so, I remember there was kind of this whole community explosion of being able to use Bitcoin to buy stuff. But after the 2017 bull run and the 2021 bull run, most people are buying and holding Bitcoin, and then they're not really using it to make everyday purchases, which is a shame because that's what it was invented to do. But Monero sort of still is true to that original vision of cryptocurrency, not just being a store of value, but of utilitarian value in actually making purchases, which is what it really excels at, sending value across the room or across the world with equal ease. Not saying you should run out and mortgage your house and go buy Monero. I'm just saying it's, if you're into that ethos and that ecosystem, Monero is a good entry point. Yeah. Let's see. What's anybody asking anything? And the rig is like a heater for my room. Yeah, the rig runs hot. Unfortunately, the rig, I'm a sucker for, as you can see over here, I'm a sucker for lighted rigs. All my rigs have like lighted fans on there, and the Monero rig is no exception. It's a little bit of an older one, and it has
I always buy lighted fans, and so even though it's running Linux, the fans still light up. I haven't figured out a way to make them not light up. They just do it by default. And so I've fixed a way to put it sort of outside the room where I don't see it, because at night I want to turn off all the lights. So I have it. It's interesting. It's linked up to everything, but I put it out of sight. So not only it doesn't heat the room, it heats the other room over there, because I don't want the lights on all the time, or I don't want to have to see the lights all the time. But it worked out pretty well. But yeah, I mean, the rig is not that loud either. Compared to the Bitcoin miner that I ran back in 2016, it's much quieter. It's a cat. Yeah, the cat. The mom hates the cat. It's true. Be careful of the staking amount on all cryptos you're holding or interested in holding. Check it weekly. That happened to me with Aldo a couple years ago. Yeah. You should keep an eye on the price of the token that you're staking. I think the instinct is to, hey, this thing is like giving me a 20% staking reward, so I'm just gonna stake it and for life, right? And then you stake this coin, and then you forget about it because you're like, hey man, it's a sure thing, 20% return. And like when you bought that coin, let's say you bought that coin at 50 per token, and then you start staking it thinking you're going to be rich in a couple years, and then you go back and check your staking rewards, and the price of the token is now $15. Well, all that staking reward you earned was a wash based on your original investment. Yeah, so please keep an eye on what you're doing. That's very good advice. The buck stops here. I like Merkle trees better. Interesting. It would be a white noise maker, or that's what mom says. Yeah, white noise is, my wife has a white noise machine that sounds kind of like you're in an airplane. That's the one she likes. One has been in this field of investing since 2010 or 2010. And prior to crypto, one worked on the LSE's famous OpenCry trading floor, Old Broad Street, until 1986. Big Bang can suggest XCN coin. Yeah, I've heard a lot about XCN. Still hasn't gone to the moon yet. I mean, it hasn't gone to that point where, I mean, people that the people that are invested in XRP, which is very similar to XCN, I think. I don't know. Yeah, if I don't want the lights on all the time, I must be married for a while. That's pretty good. Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot of research as far as health and sleep, and I'm getting older. And I watched a video of an 92-year-old lady talking about. Actually, it wasn't her. It was something else I read about age. Pardon me. But the little poem about aging, one of them said, guard your sleep like precious jewels. And the days of my youth were wasted on long nights and late mornings. And now I go to sleep early and wake up early, just like Ben Franklin said. And I'm all the better for it. And one of the pieces of advice you get about good sleep is keep it in darkness. Don't have like glowing phones or glowing screens in your room while you're trying to sleep. I just have to say, deal with CoinLedger has been a nightmare. I'm missing cost basis while the transactions are clearly there in all my imported information. Yeah, it can be difficult to deal with cost basis in crypto tax software when you're dealing with lots of transactions and a lot of swaps on DeFi. I I have a personal nightmare because I do so many crypto demos. So I'll set up a crypto wallet. I'll reveal the seed phrase during the setup video, and I don't worry about that because after I'm done with the demo, I'll transfer that crypto out of the wallet before I post the video on my channel, and then I'll just delete the wallet. I'll never use it again. So I have a lot of dead ends in my when I pull all my data into Coin Ledger, I have a lot of dead ends and missing cost basis. And yeah, it can be a drag. I don't know that that's strictly their fault. It's more that maybe they're not uniquely suited for my particular situation. I mean, if you have so many transactions that they can't figure out what your cost basis is, then you might need to level up a little. You may need some of I think they have one-on-one support. And then there's also, we've talked a little bit about taxes lately. Crypto Tax Girl, she is like the premier tax preparer that I'm aware of. I mean, she had some interaction with some federal government official. She was in the news a few months back. So she is pretty up there. And she's usually pretty booked. But she was on the live stream a couple years back. A great person. And she focuses on crypto tax preparation. I believe they'll do your entire return for you, but they charge a lot, like $500 an hour, maybe more now. There's different tiers. Like, I mean, Coin Ledger, Coinly, just so you guys know what we're talking about. Coin Ledger is a crypto tax software. Another one is Coin Tracker. Yeah, Coin Tracker. Been around a while. And then we also have another one called Coinly. They do a pretty good job of tracking all of your crypto transactions and figuring out your cost basis and your capital gains or losses. And they'll prepare the 8949 form for you. But they're generally dealing with people who maybe they'll have a lot of transactions, but they're generally between, say, Coinbase and their wallet. They might be dollar cost averaging or something like that. And it does a pretty good job with the relatively simple case of someone. You may have 3 or 4 exchanges and a few different wallets, but as long as you're not like deleting and bringing in new wallets or swapping on DeFi or staking and doing anything like overly complicated, they're pretty good as far as being turnkey. But if you're doing more complicated stuff, then you're definitely going to have to like get your feet wet and get your hands dirty to get in there and manually reclassify a lot of transactions that they're going to misinterpret based on their rules. So yeah, it can be frustrating. I mean, especially when you're like me and you've got like thousands of transactions that are just, and I remember one year it found like 750 discrepancies in like all of my transactions. So I had to go through, and it was a nightmare, right? But that's how it is when you're a little off the grid, right? Not off the grid, but out of the ordinary as far as crypto. I started doing the dollar cost average formula on Hyperliquid. a few weeks ago, and that thing is still blasting off, currently around 39 on the 1 month chart. Interesting. Not crypto, but your oil stuff. Yes. I want a professional opinion. Well, I'm glad I was able to host your family gathering here tonight, gang. Too bad we didn't see Dan. Ada, I don't know if Ada's alive anymore. Ada's still around, but I think it's in the 30-cent range. Not $3 anymore. Yeah. Well, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I didn't really get a chance to move any crypto around for you guys tonight. Dan had said something to me a few weeks back about that. He says, why don't you move crypto around? So I'm sorry I didn't get to that. Covered the news and questions. And I hope you guys enjoyed being here with me tonight. I know I liked having you guys here with me. I appreciate it. And I think we're going to wrap this thing up. I want to thank all of you that were here asking questions and commenting. I appreciate it. YouTube loves engagement, and so I love it when people come here and engage with me or each other. It's wonderful. Kenny, thank you so much for the news. Thank you all the regulars that were in tonight. We missed Dan. Hopefully he'll be here next week. So I hope the rest of you have a great week. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. If you don't forget, we'll be here again next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you all again soon. Keep an eye on the channel. I should be posting new videos periodically. And thanks for joining. Have a good night, everybody.